Greetings, Lord, ladies, and everything in between. Today, let's talk about Star Wars Battlefront 3. And this being a very special episode, as this is the first time I'm talking about characters that didn't appear on the original video, as one didn't exist when I made that video, and the other had a very small role in the Ahsoka show, only for him to have one of the biggest improvements in more Shadow Lords. After all, wasn't it cool when the Empire showed up and unleashed Marrok, showing us just how effective the Inquisitors are at hunting down Jedi, like Devon and Izara during this time in galactic history? Do you ever get that strange feeling of deja vu? Anyway, onto the characters, and let's start with the potential reincarnation of Darth Talon, Devon Izara. Devon's base health will be set at 700 as she is a smaller character and she's also still a Padawan, so a little lower makes sense to me. Max regen will be set at 200, as I said earlier, she's a Padawan. Max jump will be 10 meters, as despite, as I said 3 times now, her being a Padawan, we saw just how much agility she had jumping over the acid pools underneath Janex, so I feel like 10 meters works perfectly fine here. She pretty much has it on level with a Jedi Knight, so why not? She will have 3 dodges, she seems like a very agile character and she's a relatively small one, so 3 makes sense to me. And her weapon will be her blue lightsaber, which will do 130 damage when attacking from the front and 160 when she attacks from behind. For her first ability, I have a kind of basic lightsaber dash where Devon rushes forward towards one enemy and performs a slash dealing 150 damage. So on pretty much all of the most standard classes, it will be an insta-kill apart from the heavy class. They have 200 health. The effective distance of this would be 10 meters in front of her, so she'll lock on, dash forward, slash, and then start from there, you get free movement again. And this ability will be able to be activated a total of 3 times before it has to go on cooldown. As a result, a single activation of this ability will take 7.5 seconds to cooldown, so the total time will be 22.5 seconds, but you don't need to use all 3 before they go on cooldown. It's not like layers of thermal grenades. The cooldown will start after 1 use, so don't have to wait too long. For a second ability, I have called it Remembrance of Daki, where Devon activates her Master's lightsaber, switching her lightsaber form from her combination of Form 3 Sarisu and Form 4 Ataro, the much less blind rage Vader-inducing form Jarkai. Whilst active, the stamina required for both attacking and defending will be cut in half, as Devon is using 2 lightsabers. The damage Devon does will be increased to 250 on non-heroes and 210 on heroes. The ability will last for 12 seconds and the cooldown will be 22 seconds. I also think it would just be really cool if the lightsaber is like thrown to Devon off screen, almost as if Daki is still helping her, even if he can't be seen, his presence is still around her. But who knows, maybe we'll see that in season 2 or more. For a third and final ability, I have Embrace of the Dark Side. Devon taps into the dark side of the Force, unleashing a Force Blast in a 17 meter distance in front of her, knocking down enemies and dealing 75 damage to them as they fall, leaving them stunned for a couple seconds as they hit the ground. This will also increase her attack speed for 7 seconds. And finally, I think it would be so cool if it switches her from her blue lightsaber to Maul's crimson red blade with those screams of sandwich where it's stored. The cooldown of this ability will be set at 16 seconds. It's not too powerful, but it is still quite advantageous, as in you are getting a couple free hits here, so I feel like that's kind of fair. Not too long, but definitely not enough so you can spam it. For skins, Devon doesn't have many at all. She's such a new character. So I just have her default and then her default without the scarf. That's really all she changes in the show. So that's all I can really do here. Again, hopefully we get a few more in the next season. And I really, as you can tell, cannot wait for that personally.
Just admiring your ride. I'm gonna need to borrow it. Is this what our future holds? Always running, hiding. It just seems like a waste of our abilities.
Delightful conversation, but I'll be going now.
Hey, boys, need a ride? That's your plan. It's terrible. Tell him, Master. Fear is natural. We just can't allow it to control us.
I will kill them!
Moving on to the Knight of the Inquisitorius' table, with his loyal crow by his side, I have the first brother, otherwise known as Marrok. Marrok's base health will be set at 750, as he is wearing armor at the end of the day, so, he's got some protection at least, what we can say for other characters. Genuinely, Anakin standing on that bridge, completely exposed, with no armor. It's a good thing he's got so much invisible plot armor on, otherwise he'll be toast. His max regen will be set at 200, as the Inquisitors were never trained to be true Sith, so that's the reason why his regen will be lower than other Force users, and you can imagine that number being used a lot for the Inquisitors moving forward. His max jump will be 9 meters, see reason before for a reason why. He will have 2 dodges, and his weapon will be the ringed Inquisitor lightsaber, but he will start off with only 1 blade active, as he was shown to be highly adept at dueling with just a single blade. The damage of this lightsaber will be 130 from the front and 160 from behind. For his first ability, it's kind of a basic one. I've called it Double Blade, where Marrok will activate the second blade of his lightsaber, which will allow him to do a combined damage of 160 from the front and 200 from behind, as long as both blades strike the opponent, so if they dodge, half the damage effectively. But each input of the attack button will result in an animation where both blades should hit. And this ability will also change the other 2 abilities, which I'll get onto soon, and is toggled on and off, so it won't have a cooldown. And as a massive FYI, not all the Inquisitors will have this ability. As I said before, Marrok seems highly adept at both fighting with the single blade and double blade, an exception for him only. For a second ability, I have Heavy Slam. This will be where Marrok will rush forward in a limit of 15 meters and perform a heavy slash, dealing 250 damage. And if it's a lightsaber character who is blocking, it will break their guard and allow Marrok to get an entirely free hit, no consequences, with the sole exception of Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course.
Hello there.
And when you activate the second blade ability, the ability will switch to defensive spin, where Marrok's lightsaber blades will spin on the track of the Inquisitor's lightsaber, which will deflect any attack from the front, and if the opponent gets caught in the lightsaber fan, they will deal 80 damage each time they strike at the opponent. Yeah, not too complex, and you are exposed from behind, similar to Grievous, but essentially from the front or like a corridor, you are essentially invincible. This ability will only last for 6 seconds, but you can end it sooner by either a normal cancel or by having Marrok deal a single slash, similar to Obi-Wan's defensive rush. And both of these abilities will basically share a cooldown of 15 seconds. The way I kind of see this working is if you activate one when he's in one stance, the cooldown will bleed over into the other, so you can't just switch them back and forth and get a new cooldown. No, they share it, so you do actually have to be careful with them when you use them, because you've got to be without that ability the same, even if you switch the blade style you're using. And it will be the exact same for his third ability, and the first one of that I got is called Force Slam. This is in the single blade variant, and this is where Marrok will use the Force to slam a group of enemies into the ground, stunning them for 3 seconds and dealing 110 damage to non-heroes and 100 to heroes. And the way this ability works is quite complicated. Basically put, you target one enemy that could be anywhere in a 12-meter radius in front of you, and from said enemy a smaller circle will appear around them, which is about 5 meters big, and anyone caught in that 5-meter circle will be slammed down with the enemy. Yes, not quite confusing, but I feel like if you saw this, it will be quite easy to see how it works. Can't have to explain. And when the second blade is activated, this ability will switch to a saber throw. Marrok will lock onto one enemy in front of him that is again 12 meters away, and he will throw the lightsaber towards them, dealing a total of 200 damage to that enemy if they don't try and dodge out the way. Along with any enemies that get in the path of the lightsaber will take 125 damage, so a little bit less, but you're still taking a decent chunk out of them. But it is less than more saber throw, and also when compared to this, Marrok's will take a much more diagonal position, or I could imagine it kind of fluctuating throughout but never really going fully vertical. And it can do this because you are getting a bit more of a borderline guaranteed hit if the target doesn't dodge the incoming attack or the return of the attack. And I think it would be so cool if when the lightsaber connects to them, if it actually flew past them, then flew back into them to get back to Marrok, so they do have to dodge twice, and that seems really complicated, but I think it's cool and a very good way to pay off his ability to ensure that you are getting that total of 200 damage, and it comes from very much catching someone off guard. And both of these abilities will share a cooldown of 19 seconds. They are quite powerful, so I feel like that's a good way to make sure they're not just spammed out the gate. Similar to Devon, Marrok is quite a new character, so hasn't really got that many skins. In fact, I don't think many of the Inquisitors have many skins. So he will have his default from the Maw show with that bit more newer looking armor that looks much shinier than how it was in the Ahsoka show, where it had a bit more cumulative rust and battle damage. And I think both of these should come with and without his shoulder cape. Again, that thing is so badass. Why did he ever stop wearing it? It was so cool.
Tell me everything. You will see to your demise. Where is Maul? Yet, you survive. There is no surrender for you. The Emperor wants you dead.
There aren't that many planets I could see added with these two, but one of the planets has so many potential maps because it was so well explored during the show, and that would be Janex, because you could literally play in the high levels of the city, the lower levels of the city, the underworld, the acid baths, the jungle, the temple. There were so many options. They could be quite smaller game modes, chases, extractions, all that. I don't think you can really have a galactic assault map on them. Could have a heroes and villains map, but yeah, there's so many places you could play on Janex. It will be a lot of fun and different each time. That jungle temple definitely adds a lot of power with those very high falls. So yeah, cool planet overall. And the second one is a little more straightforward. That would be Cetos, where basically you only really have one objective on this map. It would be to traverse through the forests where Marrok met his end in order to get to that altar where Morgan's Elsmith had that map linked to the Eye of Sion for her to make a jump. So yeah, traversing your way through the forest in a smaller game mode could be a lot of fun. Trying to prevent that map information from getting to Morgan. A lot of fun, a lot of potential in that. Not too many added, but I think still cool. And with that, that covers it. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do you agree with my opinions on the abilities for these two? Have I given Marrok a bit too many? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, think I deserve it, leave a like on this video. And if you want to hear from me again, subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you know when I post the next video in this series. And with that, goodbye.